What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of SCUM. This right here, as you all know, is the place where we dive into the deep, dark, murky waters with a plethora of legendary guests. I am, of course, your host, your bastard of ceremonies, the number one scumbag, Rex Ruger, REXXX. You might also know me as AKA the King of Sleaze, AKA the Hair Metal High Priest, and most importantly, AKA Diamond David Lee Roth Jr. Take a look. Search your feelings. You know it to be true that you're looking at the son of glam, the front man for the band. Just smoked a lot of grams. I got a million fans. I'm your ice cream man. Mr. Wop Baba Loo Bapa Wop Bam Bam Shazam. Hot damn. I'm feeling good. Everybody in the house is looking good. That is, of course, made possible by my favorite product. You want the quaff like Roth, you got to work for it. Coming to you as always from the lush lavender lounge of love, joined as always by the Keith Hernandez puppet, number 17 in your programs, number 1 in your hearts. This is, of course, the No Frills podcast. You don't get frills because you get plenty of thrills, and that's looking at these mugs, these kissers, these punches. Plus, I got no ability to bring you frills because I'm a little handicapped over here when it comes to the technology side of things. But what I can do is bring you legendary guests. And tonight ain't no different. We're going to chop it up and have a good one tonight. Other than this product, we're also being brought to you by the THC vape pen made by the good people over at Cake Pens. And as you can see, we don't edit anything here, so you're getting a look behind the proverbial curtain here as I invite my guest in here tonight. Let me also remind you that I am still looking for virtuoso level or above players for my passion project, Love Sword. That's right. If you would like to be the backing band behind the second greatest frontman to ever do it, hit me up. Slide into my DMs. Do whatever the kids do nowadays. Let me check on my messages here as I try to get my guest in here. And of course, you get a look behind the curtain because we don't know how to edit shit here. That's just feel for us, folks. Somebody want to come on and work real cheap as a technical advisor? Please. I could use such luxuries in my life. But we will get them in here. We will get them in here. So you'll just listen to me ramble on and on a little bit longer. But so while I am rambling, let me first say that, again, I'd like to extend my deepest appreciation to all my guests who come on here. Without them, couldn't do any of this and get to chop it up with a lot of cool people that I truly admire and respect and have the greatest admiration for their talents. Without them, can't do any of this cool shit and bring you guys cool conversations and whatnot. So, you know, and I'm looking forward to a lot more good episodes. At the time of recording this, I am getting in the ballpark of 100 episodes. Very monumental. That means something. That means something. And, you know, hey, here's to 100 more, you know? Who the hell knows? But lots of great people out there subscribing, who I appreciate them too. Spread the word, man. I'm just going to come on here and have cool conversations and chop it up with cool people. And I believe that these people are all extremely talented, phenomenal at whatever their chosen profession and or field of entertainment or athletics or whoever I've had on there, entertainment of any type. You know, deepest respect for all of them. And tonight is going to be, well, I don't know. I hope an interesting conversation. You know, I don't know if he's having a hard time getting into the rooms. See, this is when you get a real look behind the podcast. Oh, Keith, come on. I got to make sure his hand's not in his pocket. I mean, he's up. See, that's what I worry about right there. His left hand getting into the pocket. Well, here's our guest right now anyway. So we'll get down to it and chop it up. Keith just texted me and said, abort the mission.
Is it working?
There he is. What's up?
Okay.
Hey, thank God that wasn't hard or anything, right?
No, that was simple.
Who the hell says technology is making everything fucking easy? Who's the person spreading this nonsense?
I don't know. Like, it made me like upgrade the Meet app. Then like,
oh man, I'm sorry, man. You're a good sport for being able to do it, man. I listen. I appreciate it, man. And I was droning on and on because I kind of go into a little spiel, but usually before, like while I'm sending the link to my guest, I go into my little spiel, which is like my little intro, so the guest doesn't have to kind of sit through it. You know what I mean? Like me doing my little shtick. So I droned on and on a little bit longer than I usually do while waiting for you to get in here. And I found myself getting all like gushy and like thanking people that have been on in the past. Because, without people coming on and being willing to do that and say, I'll go through a little bit of bullshit and install this fucking thing or go the extra mile. So that's cool, man. I appreciate that, man.
Appreciate you asking me to be on, man. It's awesome.
Scott PIVARNIK, a false prophet. And you know what's really cool, man? I think it's cool that you were a fan before you got into being the band. That's cool. How many people get to live that out?
Let's see. There's that guy from that movie Rockstar, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Mark Wahlberg got to do it in a movie. Yeah, I mean, if everybody's life could go as smooth as a movie, it'd be awesome.
The dude from Journey, the new guy for Journey, I guess he would be able to say that too, right?
Yeah, but now it sounds like they're starting to hit the wall with him. I'm reading all kinds of stuff on music sites that he's getting his balls busted. I don't know. I don't know if they're trying to drive him out or what.
I've seen him live. This guy's amazing, man. Sounds just like
the only thing that would be cool is getting Steve Perry back in. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's a 0 and fucking 0 chance. Like cool. Yeah. So I will admit that I haven't, I've been listening to metal a long time, but I think I must have missed the boat. And this is why I love Ray Curry, a mutual friend who we both know, because he's an endless fountain of information when it comes to metal. And especially now, he's originally from upstate New York, where I am right now, but he's a transplant down there in Carolina now, man. So, he can kind of hip people to a lot of bands down there. And then I come to find out that False Prophet's been around forever. I feel like, what have I been doing? I've been missing a boat, so to speak.
Yeah, I think like what happened was, back in the 90s, there was another band called False Prophet. And, when you're a kid, you don't realize that nobody really has money to sue anybody.
Right.
So I believe, like Paul or one of them, probably Paul, decided to change the name just to avoid any lawsuit or litigation.
But wait a minute, if there's 2 False Prophets back in the day, though, I mean, and were each of those respective bands both on labels? Doesn't somebody have the rights to the name, though? Like, wouldn't a label go after another label and say, hey, these guys were False Prophet first?
Again, I think that's a money thing, right?
Yeah. Depends
on
how much it's worth it to them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, like, now, like, thinking back, he would just let the name. He wouldn't change the name to Infernal Hierarchy. So anyway.
But North Carolina seems like it has a pretty good scene, though, man. You know what I mean?
And it's kind of strange because you got like COC, Beat the Married Me, Outlier, another band from North Carolina.
Yeah.
There's a ton of bands. I can't think of them all right now, but yeah, it's a pretty good scene, man.
I mean, you don't have to drop his name just because I'm his friend, man. I think he's a douchebag, actually. No, I'm just kidding. I know. I love him to death. I've had him on here, man, and I feel like the minute he pops up, man, we both just want to crack up because it just seems so funny, like to be talking like this. You know what I mean? It's weird. You know what I mean? It's cool that technology allows people to be able to do this, though. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, you can do. I used to take guitar lessons just like this, online with people.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. So Ray was telling me, I've gotten into the music and I've been listening to the music now ever since he told me about you guys. But I was asking him like what other kind of stuff, like beyond talking about your career. Like sometimes it's nice just to be able to chop it up about other shit. So I asked him. He said to ask you about that. You have your own guitar line or your own guitar company? Both?
I started building guitars like probably 10 years ago by now. Just for fun, me and my buddies. It's
Is this something that's like outsourced, or do you actually get in there and like know how to build a guitar too?
Oh yeah, I go out and buy the lumber raw and
That's awesome.
Here's
I
one.
fucking love that. That's cool.
There's one.
Jesus Christ! And you made that, huh?
Yeah.
That's unbelievable, man. That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah,
how long does it take? How long does it take as me, as someone that's not a musician? How long does it take someone to build build a cool guitar?
Well, it takes me a while because I got 1,000 things going on. Full-time job.
Right.
So that probably could take me I could probably do it in like 3 weeks, but with work schedule and everything else, band schedule, and sometimes I tour, so it's really hard to fit all that.
So what's touring like? What's touring like for you, man? Like, do you have like a specific like an idea in your mind? Like, I don't know what you have going on personally, but sometimes when you're touring when you're young, then your priorities change. When you get older, you might have kids or family or an old lady or significant other, something like that. You know what I mean? Has the parameters changed for you? Like, you think more about your itinerary? Like, I'm only going to go away and do a certain amount of dates, or could you just say fuck it and go on tour for like a year?
Well, last year I got kind of lucky because there was a break in my schedule, so I was able to go on the road and play bass for my friend John and band Incantation. So we did 6 weeks, U.S. tour. I couldn't right now because my job and mortgage.
I've had John on. He's a really nice guy.
I love John, one of my best friends. Yeah,
super nice guy. Yeah.
John's
I did
awesome.
chop it up. I did chop it up a little bit about though. I remember like asking him, because obviously, Incantation, one of the all-time great like blasphemous fucking death metal bands. I mean, I asked him, I'm like, do people? I think I might have talked to him about if people ever tried to convert him or like, like try to talk about like, take opposition with his lyrics, so to speak. You know what I mean? Is that something that you guys have ever faced at all? Being under the moniker False Prophet. Obviously, people like might look at that and think that sounds like a diabolical name. Are these some? Is this some evil metal?
Yeah.
So
it's like on our band page messenger and stuff, we'll get people from other countries trying to convert us and messages about the false prophet and who is the like all these random people from like Sudan or Nigeria or crazy, and just delete.
So I definitely want to talk about the false prophet music and like what you guys do, like when you get together and create and stuff or whatever. But first, man, I want to say that I know I've seen in another interview or read somewhere though, and I want to jump on this as well, man. Is that you are a huge Sepultura fan?
Oh, I love Sepultura. Yeah.
But are you a Sepultura only Cavalera era, or still currently a Sepultura fan even after departure of the Cavalera brothers?
I'm old school Sepultura, man.
Yeah, I am too. I
when growing up, that's why I played BC Rich guitars, because like Max Cavalera and Chuck Schuldiner, Death and Sepultura growing up, I still wave those flags proudly. I've seen the new lineup at like Orion Fest a few years back, and it was good, but it wasn't the 13-year-old Scott fucking opening up, Arise and listening to that for the first time and being blown away. You know what I mean? Music was, I don't know, different then.
It was. Yeah.
Kind of, Obituary was Obituary. Sepultura was Sepultura. Death was Death. Suffocation was Suffocation. It wasn't like there's all these bands now that just pick one band and go down that road of that band and try to emulate that band so much. I can't tell who's who.
Yeah. Well, I also like the fact too. I have an opinion on this, and I don't like the fact that we have to go kicking and screaming and embrace the technology because it's just where everything is fucking headed. But I actually liked back in the day when you really had to do some digging through like magazines and shit to find out bits and pieces about your bands. We know too much now. There used to be more of a mystique, and death metal bands were fucking scarier back then. You know what I mean? Yeah,
like I think I've said it before, but like around that same age, 13, 14, 15, whatever, like, that age where you're finding all this music, that's when I found False Prophet.
Yeah.
And I went to go see them, and they played my favorite song at the time, which was Inner Self by Sepultura. But they played it fucking 3-4 times faster from Sepultura. It was like, it was I was blown away. And, I followed that band until, they kind of dissolved. And,
so have you always been down in North Carolina? You've always lived down there?
Pretty much my whole life. Yeah, I grew up.
My in-laws are down there too, man, and they love it. And now when they come up here, man, I'm starting to see I'm starting to see less and less of New York State in them, because they're coming up and complaining that it's very, very cold, even when it's not really cold to me up in upstate New York. Like, they'll come up here and be bitching about 40, 45 degrees, and we may have just been fucking freezing, man. Maybe 40, 45 degrees at that point feels great to us,
I just got home yesterday from Long Island, so recording the new record. So yeah, it was.
So okay, so bringing that up, is there a timetable on this said new record?
Drums are done. They were tracked at Full Force Studio with Joe Sincata. He does Obituary, Misfits, and stuff.
Okay.
Stuff.
He's done some good bands.
Oh yeah. And guitars, we just tracked with Terrence Hobbs, Suffocation. One of my best friends. So that was awesome. We did it, all the strings in 2.5 days. It was just a marathon of play it twice. Yeah. Burnt right now, actually.
How about like working for bands though? Like Ray said, you've done a lot of like working for bands. What's that mean? Like teching and stuff like that?
I've tech for, Suffo. I did the 2018 Farewell to Frank tour.
Yeah.
Start tech for that.
What is it that you like about doing that? Are you just somebody that just loves just being around like music and gear and stuff like that? Is that what it is?
I love all that shit. I mean, I love being on but I love meeting my friends from Facebook all around the country, and in cities, and my life was tour buses and hotel rooms.
Yeah. How about those cruises? Do you like those cruises when you get out on those metal cruises?
Yeah, I worked 2 of them. I didn't do last year, Nick, right before it, but I hope to do next year. This cruise is awesome. I mean, I'm a stagehand, and it's fun.
Yeah, I imagine, man, just being on just a cruise with just all metalheads.
It's like being with 3,000 of people who are just like you.
Yeah.
Like an outcast so much, so many times going that I feel at home, and it's awesome.
I found my people.
Here we are. Most people are all drunk Europeans, but it's still awesome. It's I don't know what they're saying, but it's fun.
But they're there for you, man.
Yeah, oh yeah, I love it. Dude. Good people and good times, and cool places.
Yeah.
I've been to Mexico on the cruise, and
I unfortunately think sometimes that the metal community sometimes fucking does take a whipping, man. But then I find, man, that they're one of the most, embracing, despite the stereotypes, one of the most embracing scenes. Whereas if you go to a show by yourself, and I have been lame enough to fucking do that, but you do feel fucking. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna have a good time impeded by the fact that I don't have anybody to roll to it with. You know what I mean? It's
I sometimes have a better time going by myself. I can do whatever I want. I can walk around wherever I want. I don't have to worry about the group I'm with or whatever.
Yeah. So when you guys go in to create a new album, man, like what's your creative process like? Like, does someone come in with the lion's share of the ideas, or do you guys just have a collaborative thing where everybody's just kicking around ideas?
Yeah, I mean, 90% is Paul. It's his band and his vision. We all have riffs and throw them in, but it's hard because False Prophet, to me, as a legacy type of band, their sound in the '90s is totally different than it is now. It's because it's grown, and he has myself, and he has Craig, the bass player, throwing ideas at him. It's definitely a different direction, but it's still False Prophet.
How do you find the music business though? Do you fucking hate the fact though that we've moved away from like the physical product and album sales and all that kind of stuff, and we have these streaming platforms? Do you like it? I've gone kicking and screaming, and now it's like, fuck, I have to succumb to this fucking Apple Music now, man, because it's just going out and buying CDs is just getting harder and harder to do. You know what I mean? It's almost like you're being forced into it, and now the market's getting very singles driven. Does False Prophet have an opinion on that? Like how you guys will release music? Do you guys like to put out LP still, or do you ever dabble with the singles or the EPs?
We did an EP in 2019. We had the opportunity to tour with Obituary.
Yeah.
And we needed something new, right?
Yeah.
We had started to record the record back then, but so we had 2 songs that were done, and we released that as an EP just to have something new to offer.
Oh yeah, that's got some live ones on it too, right?
Yeah, we had to fill it up with something. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
got the
yeah. That self-titled one. That's great though.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Jamie King did it over here at his studio, and our friend Greg Mandigo, he's our sound guy over in Florida. He used to be the sound guy for Deicide back in the '90s on like Legion tour and stuff. So I mean, he knows our. He recorded us down there at Will's, and he does an amazing job.
Yeah, now there's another band that has a polarizing fucking, you bring up another, we just talking about the Cavaliers. I see a lot of people get divided on the whole like Deicide, Hoffman Brothers minus Hoffman Brothers. You have an opinion on that?
Well, I seen Deicide back in '93. Was it '93? I saw the Legion tour, and for me that I was like 15 or whatever, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
I recently have seen Deicide a couple times with my buddy Taylor on guitar, and killer.
Yeah.
Line up. It's the closest you're gonna get to Eric and Brian without them being there, because Taylor's he's doing the screams, and he effortlessly plays those leads and those rhythms, so it's pretty cool.
So how early in your life do you know you want to get into the music business? Did you have aspirations of doing anything else, or like was this the only the only thing you were ever going to do?
Man, I didn't join my first band until False Prophets. That was like 7 years ago, 5 years, a few years ago.
Holy shit! Really? So you haven't been like a lifelong musician then?
I always played guitar, but like
right.
I never joined a band or anything.
How do you avoid being an awesome guitar player and word gets out about that, and people aren't just, you had to have people like trying to like fucking like snatch you up for bands, right?
I didn't really know it, man. I was just this normal dude who went to shows, and with my job, I'm always on the road, doing my work stuff. So I was never really home to join a band, and the reason why I joined Prophet was because it's funny. I was on eBay one day, and I had remembered I had a False Prophet shirt, and that my grandma threw away, like back when I was a kid. It said like "Worship Us or Die" on the back.
Oh, why'd she throw it out? Because of that message on the back?
Probably. That's what grandmas do, right?
Yeah, they sure do.
I don't know why I thought about it, but I was on eBay and I saw like metal shirts. I was like, hey, fuck, man, let me see if I get that False Prophet shirt. And I didn't see a shirt, but I saw the record, like the album, the vinyl. And I was like, oh shit, man, I'm a collector. We're talking about physical copies. I have to have the physical in my hand.
Yeah.
So I saw the double vinyl, and I was like, man, I wonder if they're still around. So I hop on Facebook, and I had just joined Facebook not long before that, and searched the band name and found some band members, and that's pretty much how I got in the band. Was because I friended Paul, and like weeks later there was any death metal guitar players out there, and
wow.
I told my buddy, like, I'm friends with Rick Ross, and I had messaged him like, should I do this? And we talked on the phone, and so he really encouraged me to because I was kind of scared, man.
Sure. Yeah. It's intimidating, man. I mean, I can only imagine, man. Like, here's this band that you had placed in your own mind on this pedestal, and now fucking they want you to be a member of it, or I mean, that's crazy. And coincidentally, I recently talked to Rick Raj too, and we were all set up to do this, and he doesn't have a computer. He doesn't have, and I don't think he has an Apple compatible phone. I think Google Meet is an Apple thing.
I don't know what he has. I can ask him. It's funny.
I've had that happen before. I mean, we were all set up, and then he was trying to install the Google Meet and put the kibosh on the whole fucking thing. And I was looking forward to talking to him too, man. I fucking love that. I mean, that Death album that he co-wrote. I mean, fucking Leprosy, one of the greats. An amazing album. Amazing.
He's one of my best friends. He's awesome, man.
Love Rick. I know. I was lamenting that a little bit too, because I'm like, he's a cool cat to fucking talk to too. You know what I mean? Like he's we'll get it worked out at some point. We'll get him worked out at some point. I'll get him a library card and send him to his local library and say, get on the computer there, and we'll make it work somehow.
Yeah.
What was COVID like for you? When we were going through COVID and we were all hunkered down, what was that time like for somebody like you in a band? Like, what were you guys in the midst of doing then? Or like, what kind of damper did that put on you guys' shit at that time?
None. We rehearsed like a motherfucker, dude. We
Yeah.
kept at it, and it was funny because like the first show after the COVID thing, we were playing with we did a few shows with Inhuman Condition.
Yeah.
You know, Terry Butler and Taylor.
Yeah.
And,
oh, they're awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And we had played with, you know, I've known Terry and really good friends, but you know, we opened the show for him, and Terry was like, "Damn, y'all been practicing." I was like, "Yeah,
what else do we got to do, right?"
During COVID, man, we've been hammering out songs and getting really tight. So a lot of people got scared and didn't do it, but I mean,
as a metalhead, when you go out on tour, man, like as somebody, like now that I know that you didn't play, in bands your whole life and you haven't been out, touring all over the place and rubbing elbows with these people, and you're just meeting some of them, how fucking blown away are you sometimes, though? Because, in the metal world, when you're meeting the guys in Obituary, that's like a big deal. For people that come across this podcast that aren't going to fucking understand what the fuck we're talking about, when you meet like a John Tardy, you know what I mean? Like it would seem like it would be a big deal to like, to a lifelong metalhead. And then suddenly you're opening for these guys and you're around these guys and you're talking to these guys.
Sharing tour bus.
Sure, in tour buses, it's got to be absolutely mind blowing. Like, how often have you? I mean, just had your jaw on the floor. Like, I can't believe them.
Well, I'd seen all these bands many a times. I've met these guys many times, but they didn't know who the fuck I was.
Right now you're in their circle. Yeah,
that's weird, man. Didn't even think about that. Like,
yeah, you're a peer. I mean,
I don't take it for granted, and like just like with Hobbs, like fucking recording our record. Like
yeah. Right, he's a fucking legend too. Yeah,
he was on my wall. You know what I mean? Like, when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Jesus. Effigy. Jesus, man. Parents fucking hot.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's like, how did that happen? I built a guitar, and next thing I know, I'm in this world of metal that I can only was as 15-year-old Scott would not believe what's going on with 40-year-old Scott. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm very lucky, and like I said, I don't take it for granted.
Who are some guys, as a guitar player, I'm sure you're probably on record somewhere. Somebody fucking asked you about influences along the way, but I don't even like to word it that way. But like, as a guitar player, who are some guys that play guitar who you're like, damn, man, I fucking just love listening to them play guitar. I mean, we've mentioned some already that I'm sure you have on your list, like Terrence and,
Hobbs is like one of the, I'm not going to say one of, he's probably the most underrated guitar player in death metal.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All the lists I see have the same people, and those guys are great.
Yeah.
But, come on, man. Some guys aren't doing anything anymore, and they haven't done things in years.
It's no accident that you maintain a not only a career in music, but longevity and in the death metal genre, on top of it.
Yeah. It's weird with metal because like, I know for myself, like I listen to the same shit now I listened to it when I was a kid.
Yeah, I do too. I feel bad saying that, but
yeah, I mean it's the truth. It's just like I was a kid. My uncle was like, what's Metallica? All that stuff sounds the same to me. While he's listening to, and I didn't understand that, but now I kind of get it.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, I think of like when I have time to listen to music. I mean, we've got so much going on in our fucking days that when we find time to actually just sit and leisurely be a fan of music, we fall back on old staples because we're trying to get into a certain kind of mood. And I even in an older age, I'm trying to be a little adventurous and discover new bands. And I've even tried to put some on here. I figure if these bands can even get some views and draw some fans, because it really is. I mean, you can attest to this. It's really feast or famine out there right now. I mean,
it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard.
I mean, album sales aren't what they used to be. You guys get paid very little off the fucking streaming. I mean, everyone's kind of got the same. Everyone's kind of got the same story right now. You're out there, you have to slog along the road and hope that the merch sells. I mean, it's tough.
That's why people they're like, well, why don't you guys come to here or come to there or come here? I'm like, because it's really expensive to tour.
Sure. People don't get it.
If you don't have someone over there already, like you can, use their backline, then you're kind of fucked, man. Luckily, those coming up. I'll send you a flyer. We have some West Coast stuff coming up, and if we didn't partner up with another band out there, we couldn't do it.
Yeah. Is there music that you don't is there something surprisingly to fans out there? You know, and of course you certainly can plead the fifth on this, but is there music out there that's non-metal that you fucking dig that you would care to share here today?
I mean, I love like Southern rock, like Leonard Skinner. You know,
Okay.
riffs. I like bluegrass.
Yeah. I've had the great Bobby Gustafson on here before of Overkill fame, and he has admitted to sometimes just putting on top 40 radio when he's in the car and has caught himself bopping along to the Jonas Brothers. I mean,
I think like a lot of metal guys probably don't want to admit it, but like when I go in my car or go on the road, it's on Hair Nation.
Yeah.
It's not on, you know, it's on Hair Nation.
You're not gonna get you're not gonna get your metalhead card pulled for something like that, though. I mean, at least it's in the ballpark. You know what I mean? It's
in those bands, man. You know, I grew up on that too. You know, the Guitar Heroes from Docking. You know.
Yeah. So are those kind of the first guys that really got their hooks in you, though? I mean, is guys like that play with a lot of like, are you like a melody guy? I mean, I know you're playing extreme metal, but I mean,
I think like a lot of guys. I mean, my influences are everywhere.
Yeah.
You know?
Are you more of a lead guy, or do you like writing rhythms?
I'm more of a rhythm guy. I do leads, but I didn't take that shredder, you know, highway. You know,
Yeah.
I have shredding and it's fun, but I like the riffs, man. The Hetfield all the way. You know.
Yeah. Okay, since you brought that up, man, there have been a couple of very noteworthy. Because I'm a big thrash metal fan. You know, I do like the more extreme stuff and listen to it when it suits my mood, man. But you know, thrash has always been like the wheelhouse where I'm the most comfortable, like with the heaviness. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, two big ones came out this week. Overkill and Metallica released a new album. Have you had the chance to listen to either one of these albums or any part of them?
I heard some of the Metallica on their way back from New York,
and
the riffs are amazing.
Yeah. I like what my friend Ray Curry, our friend Ray Curry, stated on there, where he does make a good point that say what you will about Metallica, but the genre will suffer when these guys are no longer around. It really will. And I agree with him on that.
Who's going to play the arenas? Who's going to pack the stadiums? You know?
Right. I hate the fact that these guys get fucking dissed, man, because if these guys fucking venture off the path a little bit and get too experimental, the people just turn on them like rabid dogs. I mean, it's sad.
Yeah, I think like we just talked about a minute ago, like the first three records for me are amazing.
They are. Yeah. I guess when you come out of the gate and you set the bar that high, that's tough. Yeah. You know.
I mean, how do you get on top Puppets, dude? You know.
I know.
People kill them all. Thought Ride Lightning they sold out with, you know, Fade to Black and Escape. So I mean, I love those for that record. I love those songs. So
yeah,
I think it's funny. Like Paul and John and I are, you know, a little different age groups. So like we had discussions about like my favorite Death album is not their favorite Death album. And they think my favorite is their favorite Death album. You know, because I love Spiritual Healing, but you know, they grew up on Leprosy. So it was like, you know.
Well, Leprosy is a great album, but I am with you. I am partial to Spiritual Healing. I've had James Murphy on here. It's no accident that I love his playing. I love his tone. I make no bones about the fact that he's on my favorite Death album and he's on my favorite Obituary album. I love Cause of Death. I mean, so there's just something about his fucking playing that I like the most, though. But I will say, though, man, that you were talking about those first three Metallica albums. I've had a couple of the Flotsam guys on here, man, and right out of the gate they roll out Doomsday for the Deceiver. How do you set the bar any higher? When I was reading up for notes on stuff to talk to those guys about. From Kerrang! Magazine, which, you know, for the kids watching from this generation wouldn't understand what a Kerrang! Magazine is, but this is how we used to get our metal news, actually gave them a 6-star rating, and they'd never given that, I don't think, ever at that point or since, because they usually based it on 5 stars. You come out with a debut album, and it's already getting 6 fucking stars. This was, of course, when the great Jason Newsted was still in the band.
How do you top that?
I know. You don't. That's fucking hard. I mean, they have continued to roll out great albums. So they've been very consistent, which is a lot like Overkill is. Overkill, again, is just typical Overkill. 20 albums, and they're just fucking foot on the gas pedal all the time. They're amazing.
Yeah. For me, I still love Horoscope.
Yeah. I love that era. Yeah.
Yeah. That was like, because that's when I was discovering all. Yeah. And, you know, Years of Decay is amazing. And I remember like watching Elimination video like many times on Headbangers Ball, but when Horoscope came out, it was just, you know, down tuned a little bit and
Yeah, it was very, that was a monster of an overkill. So how well, or well, I should say, obviously his name has come up a couple times, which I'm sure he will be overjoyed about. But how much do you know Ray, and how often have you shared bills with him and played with his band?
I know we played at least once. I'm trying to think. We did a show with Obituary with Outlier. I've seen Outlier. I can tell you, his shows more. He's been to my shows though.
You've been to his shows more?
I've been to his shows more. He's been to mine. I know that.
Oh, that's a fair assessment, Ray. Come on, man. This is a good dude here, man. Get off your lazy ass and go to his fucking shows. And Ray does go to a lot of shows, man. So you should ride his ass about something like this, because it's he's out seeing live music, so it's not like he's not somebody that gets out and goes and sees. And the thing I love, which I don't really have the benefit of here in upstate New York, you guys get a lot of tours that roll through town. You guys seem like you have a lot of great venues down there.
Yeah, we get a lot of shows. And we're pretty lucky. I mean, the one coming up in 3 weeks, the Carolina Chainsaw Massacre. You should come down for that, man.
Yeah, that's going to be big. How many bands come to that?
Oh, fuck, dude. It's Possessed is headlining. So there's 2 days, Friday and Saturday. I'm trying to think of the bands on Friday. It's Castrator, Mortis Skull.
A lot of death metal, huh?
Massacre. Yeah. Man, I got to find the flyer. John's going to kill me, but Saturday it's going to be.
Massacre. So will Rick Ross be there playing with Massacre?
No, he hasn't been in that band in a while.
See, I would have known that if I would have freaking been able to talk to him. I was eager to hear like what he's up to, and I am still eager to hear what he's up to, man. I believe it will happen at some point, but time will tell. But so, and what is your from one guitar player to another? What is your assessment of Ray from Outliers guitar playing?
Oh, he's fucking great.
Yeah.
He's a shredder.
Yeah, he is.
Don't tell me. Just edit this part out.
I will. He'll never.
Well up.
Yeah, this will never see the light of day. No, and the amazing thing about him though,
he's a great fucking singer too, though. So I mean, I want to hear Ray sing some. Like.
Yeah. Yeah. Does he have a good voice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never told you about that?
I don't know. I don't know if he was up here in upstate New York and not that long ago, and he was able to get the whole band up here, and they did play like somewhat of a homecoming type of show where it was a lot of people who knew him from up in this area. But I don't remember if I remember him doing like a lot. Are you talking about background vocals or where he takes the forefront?
I mean, I think there's a video on YouTube where he's singing like for out in LA.
Oh, yes. That was when he went to the Killian on Command thing for Violence, a singer. Yeah. He was always a big Violence fan back in the day. Yeah, that was his band.
That's an honor right there, dude. I mean, him to sing with. Yeah.
And thankfully, man, Sean, the singer, his health was not really great back then, but he's made a full recovery, and Violence is still out there doing their thing, I believe.
Yeah, I saw him on the cruise. They played my stage. So I got to hang out and talk to Phil a little bit and help him out with his rig.
Is this something that you've thought about, like life, like after music? I know this is like a weird question to ask, but like obviously there's not a standard retirement for music. Like how does a musician gauge like you've been doing it for long enough? Is it just like something you play it by ear?
You know what? I'll answer that question when I get to that point.
Yeah, I guess it's not something that you really probably give a lot of thought to, right? Like, I don't want to still be doing this at a certain age. You don't really think about it like that, huh?
Because like this music isn't my career. It's not how I make my money. So for me, it's fun. Now, if I had to go out and tour, if I had to do that stuff, then maybe I would think differently. But I don't have to. It's I'm very lucky and very privileged to be able to do that,
Right.
So, I haven't heard any. Well, I've heard people complain, but very rarely,
Yeah, it does seem like it. Yeah, I mean, getting to tour and getting to see a lot of places, though. I mean, that's a reward in and of itself. I think. I mean, maybe not a monetary one, man, but I mean, seeing the world and seeing other cultures and just just being out there and being out in it and living in it is a reward all of its own.
Yeah, I mean, getting paid to play fucking metal.
Yeah, I mean, come on. That's what kids dream about in their room, playing air guitar. I mean,
actually, we're coming your way in August. We'll be in Brooklyn. I don't know if that's pretty.
No, Brooklyn's fucking 4 hours away. See, this is a common misconception, and you can ask Ray this next time you see him. A lot of people have the misconception that when you say you're from upstate New York, that you're close to New York City. It's pretty much like all those boroughs down there in New York City are like their own state almost. And then everything that's not that is pretty much considered upstate, which is hundreds and hundreds of fucking miles. You know what I mean?
You're driving 4. I'm driving like fucking 10. So
I know it is far. Yeah, it is far for you because my in-laws make that drive up a lot, and they live in Cary, North Carolina.
That's like near Ray over there. Okay.
Yeah, that's over near. Yeah, that's over near Ray's neck of the woods. But I want to tell you one thing though, man, and I might be just throwing this out there because I'm eagerly pursuing a interview with Max Cavalera. So getting back to the Sepultura thing, one thing I really love about them though, man, is that they take the whole family as part of the, it's kind of like they're like the, they're like the Partridge Family of metal. It's great.
Yeah. When I seen the Chaos AD tour.
Yeah.
Back before, and I told this to Max actually. So I was just, I was a kid, and I was hanging out by the merch table, and I think, if I remember correctly, the merch guy for Clutch was Max's stepson Dana.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep. And I hung out with Dana. I didn't know who he was, and we started talking. And I was just curious about like what it's like being on the road, and if he ever met Max before. He's like, "Yeah, that's my dad." And I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Being the huge Sepultura nerd I was, I had that. Remember that video, Under Siege, the VHS?
Yeah.
Well, if you could find it, it had like a pull-out poster where it was like folded up. Do you remember? Yeah. I was like, "Hey man, can you get this signed for me?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." So he went and got it signed in a paint marker, and I have like everybody's signature in a paint marker, and
yeah.
Then I think they were playing like the last song. And Dana's like, "I'll be back in a second." He runs up on stage, stage dives, comes back to me. He's like, "Hey man, Max wanted you to have these," and threw some picks in my hand.
That's awesome.
What?
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Talking about the family, I had met Max years later on the bus, and I had told him that story because I wanted him to know. I think that's really cool, and like his stepson, good dude, man.
Yeah,
great little kid,
Yeah, I just love the fact that it's like his wife Gloria is the manager, and Max is out, and the kids, and now the one son drums in Soulfly, and the time that I saw them, they were doing they were there as Soulfly, but they were doing that Nail Bomb album in its entirety, which was fucking amazing. And I did the same thing. Went on the tour bus, met him, got him to sign some shit, especially that Nail Bomb album. And it was great because his one son was in the opening band, Lodi Kong.
Mm-hmm. I saw that tour. It was a Cavalier tour. Yeah,
and he had written a horror novel.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I picked up a copy of it. I picked up a copy of the book. Good writer too. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, but it's just you don't see that a lot, man. You know what I mean? Where everybody is it's inspiring, man. Like to see that whole family is really just invested. And I think I just recently saw something on YouTube, or on their Facebook page, like from some footage from the bus, and the grandkids are involved now, and it's really great.
Yeah, you got to think if you're on the road all the time, you miss a lot of things. But by bringing your family out, you guys can experience this together. I mean, and
I love the fact that he's back doing shit with his brother too.
Yeah,
that's very nice. I think that Beneath the Remains album is possibly, if not the greatest thrash album of all time. It really is.
It's up there, man. It's hard for me between Beneath and Arise because there's so many.
They're both such incredible albums. And Max is just like an ambassador for metal, I feel like, because I feel like that guy has branched out to some different projects. The aforementioned Nail Bomb being one of them, but everything he's put his stamp on, though, man, has stayed authentic. You know what I mean? Like that guy hasn't. He's the definition of a guy, really, as you said before, flying the flag for metal. I mean, he lives it. He's out there living it, man. Like that's a guy who's just all about the metal. I mean, it just oozes out of the guy. He's always on. I mean, just in metal mode.
Yeah, he's had great players. He's got he's had Dan from Possessed playing with him, and and fucking killer dude and killer guitar player. So I mean,
he's got Dino playing with him now from Fear Factory.
Oh yeah,
in Soulfly. Yeah. I know he has gotten the opportunity to play with some some fucking he's been very fortunate in his career, you know. I mean, he's another guy with a lot of longevity, man, and that's rare in extreme metal.
He's influenced a lot of guitar players, you know.
Yeah, and he doesn't even play with those bottom two strings. What do you make of that as a guitar player? I mean, what does that bring as a benefit? Like, what would be Max's mindset if you were going to lop off those bottom two? Like, what does it do for us non-guitar players who are like laymen that don't know anything? Does it create a better sound?
I would probably, I could just be taking a guess. Maybe it's cheaper that way.
Cheap.
Got
to replace his. Yeah, he saves probably a lot on strings.
That's right.
You got me there. Okay, so this new False Prophet album is remind everybody again, it's going to be dropping when?
I don't know. I'm not sure. We're still recording it, so
okay.
Yeah.
So not even a ballpark. You anticipate at any time in 2023?
I can hope.
You can hope. Yeah.
It's done. I can tell you that, you know, Suffo's going to Europe and they'll be coming back, and you know, we got to record solos still, so
yeah,
got to write some, and there's vocals to do. So hopefully the vocals will be done by the time, you know, Hobbs gets back, and we can just get the solos done and, you know, start shopping it.
You don't rush this. You don't rush this goddamn shit, people. Come on, man.
Well,
you know,
it's been 30 years since the last, you know, Prophet, you know, record. We don't want to, you know, fuck it up. Not rushing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, we waited this long, right? I mean,
what's another?
Let's make sure we get it right, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, we started writing it 4 years ago. Then we had lineup changes, and you know, for people that don't play in bands, whenever you have a lineup change, it takes you about a year.
Yeah.
To you know, get back where you were, and that's happened a few times. So, you know, now we're regular again, and it's pretty exciting. You know,
as a guitar player, as a guy that plays guitar, on average, and this could obviously differ for different players or whatever, but you personally, how much fucking guitar do you play per day? How often do you pick up your guitar and fuck with it?
Usually about 30 minutes. If it depends, like if, you know, we have like the record coming up, I try to go through the set, you know, at least once. You want it. I'm not one of those guys who sleeps with the guitar, you know.
Yeah.
I have but it's right here.
It's nearby. Yeah, it's nearby. Right. It's nearby.
Yeah.
It's nearby because you never know when inspiration could strike. Is that why you need to keep a guitar close by?
You got to practice, man. You know, playing death metal is kind of hard.
Yeah, I imagine it would be. Yeah. I imagine it would be grueling.
Up, and you know, we have that festival coming up in a few days. So,
would you say that you work harder on stage playing guitar or harder to be a death metal drummer? Those guys look like they're working too.
Drummers, hands down, are the fucking athletes, man.
I mean, they are really, I mean, dude, I mean, fucking crazy, man. Like, I mean, you know, the fact that a human being can get so many beats in per minute is pretty astonishing. Even some of the older guys, you know, I mean, like the stalwarts of the scene, you know, like the guy from Cannibal, he could still go pretty good, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, you know, speaking of Suppo, Eric, Brody is every night.
They're amazing.
I would, you know, a lot of times I'd go Facebook Live and just focus on Eric playing drums, you know.
Yeah.
The kid, he's one of my favorite drummers. I mean,
you hit the nail on the head too. They're athletes.
Yeah, so young and just to be so fucking good, you know. And actually, when we lost our drummer, the first person I called was Eric.
Yeah.
To, we had a show in New York playing with Mortician.
Yeah.
And when I dropped the show, so I needed a drummer, and Eric was going to do it. He agreed to do it, and I was going to, you know, see if he wanted to do the record for us. But you know, one of his best friends heard about it, and he wanted the gig, so we tested him out with Mortician, and then we offered him the job. So ever since then, Wes has been killing it, and the new record, he's just fucking playing his ass off.
Yeah. That's good. Well, take me back when you first get into this band, though, dude. Like, you know, we kind of glossed over that a little bit, but what was it like when you show up there, man? Like, what do? You answer like an open call for an audition, or those guys know you and reach out to you?
No, fuck no. Like I said, I was kind of like nervous and intimidated by even trying to reply. So like I called Rick and talked to him, and you know, Rick's very supportive of, and especially supportive of me. We're really good friends. And I also talked to my friend Jeff from Possessed. Like asked him what it's like, you know, play in a band because I
Yeah.
had no idea, man. And
Right.
he's very encouraging. So I was like, you know what, fuck it, man, I'm gonna do it. And I answered that, and I was like, I play death metal, right? And I think Paul reached back, and he's like, I'll get in touch. And I waited a week, nothing. I was, Facebook Messenger, hey man, I'm still interested. And
Yeah.
say, hey man, we're still looking, waiting. And I kept bugging the fuck out of him until finally he gave me a chance to come down and play. And I never left after that. And I didn't know I had the gig until he said Cannibal Corpse. I think Outlier had opened that show. I can't remember, but
Oh, I'm sure they did because Ray's good buddies with the Cannibal guys. Yeah.
yeah. So was Paul. Actually, I think Corpse Grinder played his first show with False Prophet back in the day.
Yeah.
So I didn't know I was in False Prophet until we went back to the bus, and Paul introduced me to Alex as the new guitar player for Prophet, and I was like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it? Do you think there was anything intentional behind that? Did they just make you sit on the hot seat? Do you think, or did they ever let on? If they had made up their mind, or were they really searching guitar players after your audition?
I don't know, man. I think it could have been just fucking with me. But the funny thing is, I never told those guys I'd never played in a band before.
And they don't ask, huh?
They found out about 10 minutes before our first show.
Yeah.
Fucking I was pretty much shaking, and the way they found out was the drummer was backstage, practicing. And I'm like, so what do you usually do before you go on stage, man? He's like, you just kind of go through your motions and kind of stretch out. And I'm like, okay, all right. So I start doing that, and I think I asked him something else. He's like, hold on, man, you ever played a show before? I said, no. He's like, hold on, you been in a band before? I was like, no. He's like, oh,
what was that first show like?
It was fucking nerve-wracking, man, but it was fun. And I guess it got kind of addictive,
How long into playing shows, man, do you really realize that or do you start to get your persona on stage, or what I mean, your fucking your rock moves, as the kids would say, what I mean? When do you when do you feel a comfort level?
I don't know, man. Even with the In-Can tour, that was my first time playing bass. So that first show in Nashville, I was pretty nervous, man. But after that, it was 6 more weeks of fucking metal every night, and it was awesome. What I get the initial thing out of your, the initial nervousness out, and just after that, I just enjoy it while it lasts, because those 45 minutes on stage. Just like that, man.
Yeah. Now, I feel like this has been done in the past, and forgive me for not knowing specifically, but this I want to ask you about, because I don't think it happens a lot. This End Divine album. Explain what that was, because it was kind of like a split album. For people that don't know, I mean, what does that mean when two artists split an album, and why is something like that done?
Well, I'm friends with Cam.
Right.
And I can't remember. There was, I think,
Cam Lee of Massacre, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He's a good dude, man. He's a really good dude. Yeah, we did the split with them. I can't remember how that happened. I think Cam might have made a post about it, and I was like, hey man, we might be interested in it. And like, cool. Next thing we submit a song to the record label, and they put us on the back, him on the front, and I think his song was called The End, and our song was called Divine.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like something that it's something that the label kind of takes the lead with, or you guys meet up and say, hey, let's do this.
It was Cam's project. I think he just needed another band on the B side, or somebody. Cam was cool enough to allow us to be that band, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey man, I'm glad that Ray turned me on to you guys, man. I really enjoy the music, and it's been awesome fucking sitting here chopping it up with you, man. I mean, it's been a fucking fun conversation, man. I mean, I appreciate you doing it, man. I don't know where the hell you are, man. You look like someone's got you hostage somewhere. Are you being held against your will? Blink once if you need fucking assistance from the audience out there.
No, man. It's Ray's a good dude. I appreciate him hooking us up like this, man.
Yeah. I am too, man. Yeah, he's yes, he's led me to you, but I'm still waiting for a Corpse Grinder interview, Ray, which because he is pretty good friends with one George Corpse Grinder. So I mean, he's
well,
yeah.
Hey, if you the Carolina Chainsaw Massacre, Corpse Grinder is going to be there.
I know. I should just kidnap him and just bring him somewhere a lot like the room that you look like you're being held in right now, and just fucking hold him down and interview him, man. Nah, he's
Fly
way
down.
too. I did meet him backstage when they played in Syracuse, and I am 6'4", 250 pounds, and he is every bit as big as I am, dude. And plus, that neck is the stuff of legend. I mean, it's incredible. Yeah, you have to respect the neck. I mean, I couldn't imagine like what it would be like on the receiving end of a headbutt from that guy. I mean, he's just a monster.
I have one of his stickers somewhere he gave me after we played in Tampa.
But a nice guy though, and he was on his way to be. His band wasn't up yet, and somebody was going to shuffle him off to do some shopping at, of course, a nearby Target.
Of course.
So yeah, I mean, apparently that's his thing. But I mean, he's loyal. If anything, you could say the guy is loyal about where he shops. I mean,
yeah. I was telling John, we need to get like those giant claw machines just for George.
Yeah.
Agency who can beat George on a claw machine or something,
And by the way, I mean, shout out to the guy, because I saw around the holidays, man, all those toys he plucked out of there, he donates to at Christmas time. So that's a worthwhile cause. So enough with the metalhead stereotypes already. There's good guys out here in metal, pretty much all of them, I think. You want to go pick on somebody, go pick on the people that are dying at rap concerts, for God's sakes. Jesus Christ.
George is a giant dude with a giant heart, man. So
yeah, he really is. He really is, man. But listen, man, I really appreciate you coming on here, man. This has been really fun, man. And we'll stay in touch, and hopefully we can do it again sometime. I'll send you the link when I put your episode up. But when we get closer to the album or whatever, some news comes up, we'll get on in here and do it again, man. I'd love to.
Let's not forget Donald Tardy, man, because he has his cat rescue thing.
Oh, shout out to Donald Tardy. Yeah, I have 3 cats myself. I can't forget about Donald Tardy. Yeah, doing great things out there for cats. Yeah, and I mean, where would life be without pussy? Cats.
That's right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, man.
Okay, dude.
All right, man. Talk to you later, brother. Thank you.
Later.
All right, later. Now we got to see if he can log off.
How does this fucking thing even work?
I would hit that red phone button down at the bottom there.
The red phone button?
Yeah.
You should record my phone, so let's see.
You should see something down there.
Oh, there it is. All right, dude, later.
All right, later, brother. Thank you. There he goes, folks. That is Scott PIVARNICK from just a little legendary North Carolina band called False Prophet. That was a fun conversation. That's a good dude. Graciously turned on to their music by my good friend Ray Curry from North Carolina thrash metal band Outlier. My boy, love him to death, man. Put me in touch with, put me on to these guys. So got to give credit where credit is due. That was a fun conversation, man. And as you can hear, hopefully, False Prophet, new music in the near future. Be patient, people. You want the good stuff. The good stuff takes fucking time. And Keith was texting me while we were waiting for him, and you listened to me ramble on endlessly, which is why I will not do that here. Keith did text me from in his pocket, which I don't like him to do while he's on the job, and did tell me to abort and, ditch fucking Scott PIVARNICK. But I would never do that, Scott. I enjoyed our conversation. Keith Hernandez has obviously been into the booger sugar again, and he's all fucking riled up. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Scott PIVARNICK. Go check out everything that False Prophet does, because they are a band worthy to be praised. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. And until we meet again, remember to take it easy and please keep it sleazy.